How to feel beautiful in a world obsessed with youth. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like the person staring back wasn't quite you anymore? Maybe the skin has softened, the hair's turned silver, and the lines around your eyes have deepened. And yet, deep inside, you still feel like that same vibrant, curious, passionate person you've always been. So why does the world act like your beauty has an expiration date? If you've ever felt invisible in a crowd, or watched commercials that only praise youthful skin and wrinkle-free faces, you are not alone. There's a quiet kind of heartbreak that comes from feeling overlooked, not because you've lost your spark, but because the world forgot to look for it. But here's the truth no one says out loud enough: beauty doesn't fade with age. It deepens. It shifts. It becomes wiser, richer, and more meaningful, like a well-loved book or a song that still gives you goosebumps, even after all these years. And today, we're going to talk about how you can reconnect with that kind of beauty. The kind that has nothing to do with age creams or filters, and everything to do with how you see yourself, and how you let others see you. Because you deserve to feel beautiful. Not in spite of your age, but because of it. So let's sit down together, just you and me, and talk about what it really means to feel beautiful, and how to hold on to that feeling, no matter what the mirror says or what society shouts from magazine covers. Let's start here. Feeling beautiful has little to do with looking a certain way, and everything to do with how you carry yourself. Think about someone you've met, maybe an old friend, a neighbor, or even a stranger, who just had that presence. They walked into a room, and they didn't need makeup or designer clothes to turn heads. There was something unshakable about them. A quiet confidence. A glow that didn't come from products on a shelf, but from the life they'd lived. That kind of beauty? It's real. And you have it, too. Sometimes, it just gets buried under self-doubt, media noise, and years of being told to chase youth like it's the only thing worth having. One of the most powerful ways to reconnect with that beauty is to change how you speak to yourself. Think about it. How many times have you looked in the mirror and said something unkind? Ugh, my skin looks terrible today, or I look so old. You'd never say those things to your best friend. So why say them to yourself? Every time you talk down to yourself, you chip away at your own light. But the good news is, you can build it back. One kind word at a time. Try this. The next time you look in the mirror, instead of scanning for flaws, find one thing to compliment. Maybe it's your eyes, the way they've seen decades of sunsets and smiles. Maybe it's your hands, the ones that have held babies, cooked meals, and wiped away tears. Or maybe it's your voice, steady, gentle, and full of stories that only you can tell. Start small. But say it out loud. And say it like you mean it. Because self-talk is like water on soil. What you say to yourself, over and over, is what grows. Plant love, and love grows. Plant shame, and, well, we both know how that goes. Another way to feel more beautiful? Surround yourself with things, and people, that lift you up. You don't need anyone's permission to wear bright colors if they make you happy. You don't need to tone it down because someone else thinks older women should dress modestly. Says who? This is your life. Your story. You get to write the next chapters. When's the last time you wore something that made you smile just putting it on? Not because it made you look slimmer or younger, but because it made you feel alive? Put that on. Today. Even if it's just for yourself in the kitchen. Especially if it's just for yourself. And when it comes to people, oh, how important this is, be ruthless about who you let into your energy. If someone constantly points out your flaws, makes jokes about your age, or treats you like you're less than because you're not 20 anymore, they don't deserve front row seats in your life. You deserve to be around people who see the light in you and reflect it back. Choose conversations that feed your spirit, not drain it. Laughter that makes your eyes crinkle. Friends who don't just tolerate your stories from the past, but lean in, because they know they're listening to a woman, or a man, who's lived deeply, loved fiercely, and learned the kind of wisdom you can't Google. Now, this next part is important, and it might sting a little. You have to let go of the idea that your best days are behind you. That's a lie the world tells people once they hit a certain age. And it's not just wrong, it's cruel. Who says beauty peaks in your 30s? Who decided that value has a cutoff date? You didn't come this far, through heartbreak and healing, through births and funerals, through laughter and long nights, just to become a background character in your own life. No, you've earned your spotlight. You are not past your prime. You are standing in a new kind of power, one that doesn't need to beg for attention or approval. You're not trying to keep up with the trends. You are the trend, timeless, grounded, real. And let me tell you this, there is nothing more magnetic than a person who knows their worth, wears it like a well-loved sweater, and smiles, not because they're perfect, but because they've stopped apologizing for who they are. So if today, even just for a moment, you can take a deep breath, stand a little taller, soften the harsh words you say to yourself, and choose one small thing that makes you feel radiant, then you're already doing it. You're already becoming the kind of beautiful this world needs more of. And maybe, just maybe, as you begin to feel that shift inside, you'll start noticing something else, too. People respond differently to someone who believes in their own beauty. There's a quiet magnetism in that. You won't need to shout it, or prove it, or even talk about it much. It's in how you walk into a room, how you laugh without covering your mouth, how you show up, fully present, fully yourself. But here's the thing, that inner glow? It needs fuel. And one of the best fuels you can give it is purpose. There's something about waking up and knowing that your day has meaning, that you're needed, valued, and connected, that brings out a kind of radiance no beauty product can match. Maybe that purpose is in your garden, where you watch life bloom again and again. Maybe it's in writing letters to old friends, sharing memories only the two of you can understand. Maybe it's mentoring someone younger, passing down the kind of wisdom the internet doesn't have. You don't need to move mountains to feel purposeful. You just need to show up where your heart feels pulled. Purpose gives you posture. It lifts your chin, brightens your eyes, adds warmth to your smile. It says, I'm still here. And I still matter. And if you've ever felt like your days of mattering were over, I'm here to tell you, they aren't. Not even close. In fact, some of the most beautiful people I've ever met were well into their 70s, 80s, even 90s. Their beauty wasn't in how smooth their skin was, it was in their spirit. Their spark. The way they told stories with so much life in their eyes that you forgot all about their wrinkles. They didn't chase youth. They embraced who they were right now, with grace, with humor, and with a kind of joy that can only come from living long enough to realize what really matters. And a big part of that joy? It comes from reclaiming your body as your own. You see, for years, maybe decades, we've been taught to see our bodies as things to fix. Slim this. Tighten that. Cover this up. Make that disappear. But what if, instead of fixing, you started thanking your body? Look at those hands. All they've done. The meals they've made, the babies they've rocked, the tears they've wiped, your own and others. Look at your legs, maybe they ache now, maybe they're slower, but they've carried you through every chapter of your life. Through hospital hallways, wedding aisles, first days of school, long walks with someone you loved. Your body isn't broken. It's just experienced. And experience is beautiful. Start treating it like a beloved old friend, not a problem to solve. Moisturize because it feels good. Stretch because it reminds you that you're still capable. Dress in fabrics that make you smile. Eat foods that nourish, not punish. Your body deserves kindness, not just from others, but from you. And the more you show that kindness, the more your reflection begins to change, not because your face looks different, but because your eyes do. They start to shine with a kind of self-acceptance that this world doesn't teach enough, but that you, right here, right now, can claim. And don't underestimate the power of joy. Joy is magnetic. Joy is youthful. Joy is contagious. It's in the way you hum while folding laundry, or dance a little while making your coffee. It's in laughing too loud at an old memory. It's in calling someone just to say you love them. You know, there's something incredibly beautiful about a person who chooses joy, even when the world gives them every reason to feel forgotten. Because when you choose joy, you choose yourself. Not the version of you from 30 years ago. Not the version that fits someone else's standard. But you, now. With the laugh lines, the silver hair, the stories, the softness, the depth. And when you live in that space, where you don't need to prove or perform, you start to feel a kind of beauty that no one can take away. That's the kind of beauty I wish the world celebrated more. But just because the world doesn't always see it, doesn't mean it's not there. It's in you. It always has been. So take a breath. You don't need to chase youth. You just need to come home to yourself. And if today, that feels like a new beginning, then good. Because it is. There's something so powerful about realizing you don't have to become someone else to feel beautiful, you just have to remember who you are. Because deep down, beneath all the noise, the ads, the comparison traps, you've always known your worth. It's just that life, with all its demands and distractions, can make us forget for a while. But now is your time to remember. To remember that beauty is not something you earn by looking a certain way. It's not something that fades with age or disappears when the mirror changes. Real beauty, the kind that lasts, is something you grow into. It's in your wisdom, in your patience, in the way you've learned to love others, and, hopefully, yourself, better over time. And yes, there will be days when you don't feel it. Days when the aches are loud and the silence is louder. Days when you wonder if anyone really sees you anymore. But those days don't define you. They don't erase your light. Because here's the truth, you are seen. Maybe not by every stranger on the street. But by the people who matter, the ones who've shared your journey, the ones who still look at you with awe, the ones who remember what your laughter sounds like when you can't catch your breath. And even if it feels like the world is obsessed with smooth skin and filtered selfies, you can choose a different obsession. Be obsessed with becoming softer in your heart. With letting go of grudges. With learning something new, even now. With giving compliments, not just to others, but to yourself. Let beauty be an act of kindness. Let it be the way you show up for someone. The way you keep hope alive in hard seasons. The way you still laugh at old jokes and cry at old movies. That kind of beauty doesn't age, it deepens. It grows stronger. And it touches everyone around you. And while we're here, let me say this, you're allowed to take up space. You don't have to shrink to make others comfortable. You don't have to apologize for aging. You don't have to pretend you're okay with being sidelined. Speak up. Be bold. Say, I'm still here, and I still have so much to offer. Because you do. Your stories matter. Your wisdom is gold. Your joy, your pain, your humor, your grace, they're not footnotes. They're the main chapters. And if you've been quiet for a while, if you've held back because you felt like no one was listening, let this be your permission slip. Start sharing again. Your memories. Your thoughts. Your dreams, yes, you're still allowed to have those. And don't be afraid to celebrate yourself. Wear the red lipstick if it makes you feel alive. Rock that scarf, those earrings, that sparkle. Let people wonder where you get your glow, and smile, knowing it comes from within. You don't need to compete with younger women. You're not in the same race. You've already crossed milestones they haven't even reached yet. You've raised families, survived losses, rebuilt yourself more than once. You've proven your strength, your resilience, your capacity to love again and again. You don't need to chase beauty. You are beauty, in motion, in stillness, in every breath you take with intention. And yes, sometimes the world forgets to remind you of that. So I will. You are beautiful, not because you look the way you did at 30, but because you carry the strength of someone who has lived. And that's rare. That's radiant. So today, let's make a quiet promise to ourselves. Let's promise to speak with kindness when we look in the mirror. To stop waiting for permission to feel good in our skin. To stop chasing the idea that we have to fix ourselves to feel worthy. And instead, to step into every day knowing that we're enough, just as we are. Because real beauty? It starts with how you treat yourself. So be gentle. Be proud. And never let anyone, including that little voice in your own head, convince you that your best, brightest, most beautiful days are behind you. They're not. They're here. They're now. They're in every step you take toward loving yourself a little more than you did yesterday. And if you're watching this and thinking, I needed to hear this today, then I'm so glad you're here. You're not alone on this journey. There's a whole world of us out here, learning, unlearning, growing, glowing. So let's lift each other up. Let's flood the comments with stories of confidence, of rediscovery, of moments where you felt truly seen. I'd love to hear yours. If this message resonated with you, give this video a like. And if you want more content that speaks to the strength, beauty, and wisdom of life after 60, go ahead and subscribe. This is a place where you'll always be valued, just as you are. Here's to living with pride, with purpose, and with the kind of beauty that only grows richer with time. You're not just aging, you're blooming. And trust me, the world needs your kind of bloom.